Hey sis, if there's one black woman that's authentically herself, other than Rihanna, it would be Megan Thee Stallion. There are 4 reasons why people have a problem with her. Her authenticity bothers a lot of people, both male and female. And it's not because she's overly sexual, as some may feel, or simply comfortable with being sensual. The problem, in quotation marks, they have with Megan is nothing to do with sex or sexuality at all. I'll tell you this, today's rap music is not really my thing. I have not followed all her lyrics as closely as some of her hardcore fans, but I've heard enough of her content and observed her energy as a woman to understand the subtle hints Megan gives about how she feels about herself, men, and not conforming to expectations often placed on black women. These are the real problems people have with Megan. Unintentionally, she can make people uncomfortable because of how she feels about herself, men, and life. It's because of this she needs to enter the Encyclopedia of Black Women here on Notes on Black Women. Megan is a woman who embodies I am the prize. Every time I see Megan, I smile from ear to ear. Her beauty, her height, her infectious personality make her so likable. She's book smart, as a degree holder. There's more to her than just twerking and showing us her incredible body and dance skills. Plus, she's an Aquarius woman like me, so what's not to love? There's been a lot of buzz about her new song, Love a Girl. I pulled up the official video to listen to the lyrics. I smiled all the way through for the full 4 minutes of her video. It became clearer to me why, after the release of this particular song, there will be a flurry of black women who have an enhanced or renewed problem, in quotation marks, with Megan. This song will also enhance the unease many men in the black manosphere have towards women like her. Megan is the antidote to a lot of the generational issues we've had as black women in relation to men, and an antidote to the black manosphere's brainwashing of black women. But what's important to remember is it's her archetype of a woman, which is different to personality, which could effectively deal with the collective narcissism that black women experience. Also, which I discussed in one of my recent essays, are black women in a narcissistic entanglement with black men? Now, if you're catching this on YouTube, I will link the video in the description box, or it may pop up in the right hand side of the corner of this video as I'm speaking now. If you are on Substack, it will be linked directly in this written essay. There's something about Megan. I would take a guess and say Megan is definitely a girl's girl. Judging by the way she centers herself, a woman who can center herself will naturally see value in women and be a girl's girl. This is something many black women have a problem with because they can't identify with her, in quotation marks, to use their words from what I've seen online. By this I mean, it's not that many black women are not girls, so they can't relate to her. Many black women do not see themselves as the prize. Men are, especially black men. That's where Megan's archetype of woman differs from the average black woman's mindset. This is what creates a disconnect for some women with Megan, or a dislike towards her from other women and men. As I said, I'm not a fan of today's rap, but I am a fan of Megan, the woman, and her archetype she embodies, and so should you be as a black woman. Regardless of your musical taste, Megan is a woman to observe, especially after the release of her new song, Love a Girl. So firstly, struggle love is sadly an option for many black women, not Megan's archetype. The song Love a Girl, if you take a close listen to the lyrics, is clearly a statement that Megan is happy in her relationship, but it's obvious it's not struggle love that she is happy with or what she would be open to accepting. This is the starting point of the problem, again in quotation marks, and the lack of ability to relate to Megan and her archetype of a woman. Many black women are open to the struggle. To them, it's how men express love, what they need to go through so they can prove just how much they can take and show their value. They can't identify when a woman is not experiencing this, or if she is not drawn to this dynamic in a relationship. In her lyrics, she hints at, and this is a direct quote from Megan, being spoilt, finding someone on her level, and having a man's attention rather than him wanting hers. The biggest hint is when she mentions that her man knows he is a star but he is her biggest fan. What we're being shown here is a woman who is not settling for being an option, or for a man who is clearly not wanting to, and to quote Megan again, empty that wallet, as she says, or a man who will not centre and spoil her. These are experiences that black women have been trained, or we could say conditioned, to not want, to not seek, to not even expect from, we could say, black men. And the saddest part of this is the conditioning comes from a majority of black men. There is no way I will support the argument it's not all black men, and I have explained why I don't hold this belief in one of my previous essays. So I will say it's the majority of black men, and I stand by this. This starting point for this training of not expecting too much is not with just the modern day manosphere that we see today and their attempt to condition women that we've probably seen grow over the last decade or so. It starts with looking at history. My point of reference here is the civil rights movement of the 60s and 70s across the black diaspora, not just in the USA. Since this point, black women have always placed themselves in last position for men, especially black men, as this is the man that black women have been conditioned to only desire, to only date, or only this man she should be giving chances to when it comes to romance. Black women's position from this point of time of the conditioning has been to play one of empowerment, but it's empowerment for black men, not for herself. This means to sympathise with their position in society and the oppression that they may experience, all while forgetting her own oppression that is double what any black man would experience, simply because she has both race and gender discrimination to deal with. Her position from this point of time was about being conditioned to see everything as being somebody else's fault in society as to why black men could not self-actualize, all while she, as a black woman, is self-actualizing in the face of both racism and sexism, and if we really want to be honest, also the high level of absent fathers that come with black men, as she has been left a single parent. To prove this point, in the book The Black Woman, an anthology which was published in 1970, if you are catching this on Substack, I will directly link to that book in this essay. If you are on YouTube, I will put the link in the description box. We see a lot of evidence of this in the radical black women writers of the era who were brave enough to really express the reality for black women back then. One piece that really caught my eye is called Tell Martha Not to Moan, and this is written by Shirley Williams, and she wrote this in 1968. I will dive into this piece that Shirley wrote separately in order to keep the focus on Megan's archetype of woman. This conditioning has carried forward from this time with the rise of the Black Manosphere's talking points and with the normality, in quotation marks, of black women who date down, again, as they call it, in quotation marks, which is something that Dr. Ralph Richard Banks, who is a university black professor, pointed out in the research for his book, Is Marriage for White People?, which was published in around 2011. And if you are a black woman, I highly recommend that you read this book with an open mind. Megan's archetype of woman would not be interested in any of this conditioning, and this archetype would not be placing herself behind men. And in Lover Girl, her song, she shows us this in just 4 minutes. This is why there will be a flurry of men and women upset with her. It's her rejection of the conditioning of black women and the rejection of her willingness to not accept or expect less. So secondly, Megan's archetype makes herself the centre of her world. When a man can see that you value yourself, that your energy is something sacred that you won't just give to anything or anyone, they naturally may feel a bit of a threat. Some may even try to humble you because of this, like the Black Manosphere does to women like Megan, or any woman who does not overvalue men. This is flipped for women. So rather than feeling a threat, there is an underlying, you could say, jealousy or envy from women towards women like Megan, or a woman who has Megan's archetype, because of how these women carry themselves as the prize, in quotation marks. Some women are so far conditioned, they cannot relate to this, and they see fault in Megan's archetype of woman for feeling herself and for seeing herself so highly. On top of that, if the woman is stunning, has a warm personality, and clearly smart or holds some kind of graduate degree, or she's very professional, there's even more reason to have a problem with this woman. Megan, if you hadn't noticed, does not go around announcing how she sees herself, or she doesn't announce her own self-value in the lyrical content of Lover Girl or any other songs from what I understand. It's how she handles the world around her in relation to how she sees herself. That's her announcement. This is the same for women who are not as famous as Megan, but are of the same archetype. There's no announcement. It's an energy these women or she carries with her and how she handles the world. It should be remembered also that to be the same archetype as Megan as a woman, she does not have to or need to be exactly like Megan, or she does not have to be essential as our beautiful Megan Thee Stallion. As this is down to personality and this is who Meg is, it's not based on archetype or what makes this archetype. It's the quiet confidence where no words will express this archetype of woman's confidence that makes them the same. Regardless of if one twerks and the other one can't dance, for example, maybe she dresses like a nun or she's very conservative, they can still be the same archetype of woman. So how does Megan and women like her do this? It may not be clear to everyone to see, but Megan clearly does not brag about what she has to offer the world, and she certainly does not brag about what she has to offer to any man, but she will always tell us how she will handle a man and how she will handle the world around her. And that's it. Strip back the twerking, the glamour, the beauty. Listen to what Megan and women like her actually say. The world she lives in and women like Megan and the men within it, should these women enter into any kind of connection with a man, they are there to serve her in some way, for her to be of interest first. It's never the other way round. So Megan opened up the song Lover Girl by saying, I had to lock in when I found out he could handle me. Some N-word, call me extra. Some N-word, call me pressure. This should be easy when you find someone on your level. So that's a direct quote from the opening bars of Lover Girl. What we see here is that she didn't commit or lock in until this guy showed her that he could handle her, to use her direct words. This could mean what she seeks, what she requires, or, whatever it is that she wanted. She's basically showing us that she met someone on her level. She didn't settle or date down just to say, my man, my man, my man, I've got a man. She shows us that men are not the center of her world or women like her. Men are disposable. If they are not what women like this are looking for, they don't commit quickly, they don't stick around and try to change them, and that's just how it is. This mindset will have the Manosphere very mad, as clearly they are not dealing with women who are very focused on men, or women who are focused on, we could say, the male gaze. Women will be mad as they won't be able to relate to this archetype of woman. Not many will, and that's all it boils down to. They just cannot relate, and that is due to brainwashing that they have had to devalue themselves by men. So the third thing, Megan embodies feminine energy, and it's not just on a physical level. Feminine energy is not always about how a woman presents herself. Feminine energy is a state of being, it's how I describe it. It's naturally receptive, it sits back, it expects to receive, it's not afraid to receive. What each feminine energy wishes to receive will be different from woman to woman. If she's not receiving that feminine energy, it will disappear. The woman will probably lose interest. It's as simple as that. If men, and especially the Manosphere and their followers, understood this, they would have no trouble in getting the kind of submission, in quotation marks, because that's the word they use, from the women that they want. And by this, I mean not submission, again in quotation marks, from the brainwashed women. These men don't want these women. They do not want these pick-me women. They just don't. They want Megan's archetype, but they don't understand feminine energy, so they could never attract a woman like this. That's their frustration, and that's the starting point of why they can't attract the women they want, or they are stuck with the brainwashed women, or the pick-me's as they are sometimes called. Then what do? They call themselves incels, for example, because they cannot attract a certain type of woman. Many black women may have a problem with Megan and true feminine energy as I've described it, because simply they don't know how to embody this kind of feminine energy outside of beauty standards, and by this I mean how they present in a feminine way, or how to embody wanting to benefit from life or from being in a relationship or having a connection with a man, and really meaning this in how they carry themselves. This is not to blame or to shame any kind of women, or to blame or to shame these women who can't relate to this. It's to highlight it. And this could be because they didn't see their mothers embody it, and we could say and or the cultural conditioning that black women have to not expect anything. Recently, I discussed the idea of black women slowing down, going through life expecting to receive, pulling back, and stop overgiving in my daily note for black women 53. If you are catching this on Substack, it will be directly linked into the written article. If you are on YouTube, I will link it in the description box below. So back to Megan's song. Throughout Lover Girl, we can see Megan's feminine energy in her lyrics. Everything is about what she is receiving while in this relationship. There is no mention of what she's giving or what she wants to give at all. On top of that, of course, she looks visually very feminine. Men will have a problem with this because she's not giving up anything or even mentioning that she will give up anything to be with this man or to be with any man. The fourth thing, when a woman has no fucks to give, Megan is sensual, but it's not to get a man. We could say that Megan's personal femininity comes across in how she dances, how at ease she is with her body, or we could say she's a woman who has no real fucks left to give about who thinks what. Sensuality is how she celebrates herself. That's why she dresses how she does, that's why she twerks, etc., etc. When a woman has no fucks left to give, she has reached a certain stage of growth, maturity, and happiness with herself in her life, and she also realizes her value. How her no fucks to give mindset shows will be different from woman to woman, but you will sense it on her. Megan, she twerks out her no fucks to give. Me, I write my fucks no to give out on paper because I'm a writer. This unsettles other women because they question, why is she doing that? Why is she not like us? Why is she not following the crowd? Why is she going against the grain? For men, it unsettles them because a woman who's got no real fucks to give is an unpredictable woman and one that is not easily controlled. History has shown us just how much men love to control women. In one of my most recent essays called 3 Ways Black Women Were Removed from History, I make reference to this control of women that is being repeated today to control every race of woman. If you are catching this on Substack, it will be linked directly into this written article. If you are on YouTube, it may pop up in the corner as I'm speaking now, or I will link it in the description box for you below the video. My point here is this. Megan's sexuality is not coming from a place of wanting to have a man or even for the male gaze or proving to men that she is worth it in some way by using her body, because her lyrics don't reflect that. Not here in Lover Girl and not in any of her other songs from what I've heard and what I understand. She is sensual and she is sexy out of self-comfortability, and I would say yes, out of self-love. I mean, look at her. Why should she not love herself? Do we need less of Megan twerking because she's too over-sexual or she's too much? Absolutely not. This video that she has just produced for this song shows us no matter what and no matter the relationship status that she has, there's 2 things Megan is always going to do because she really does not give a fuck, and her male partner will need to accept her or risk being rejected by her. Number one, she's always going to look stunning with or without a man. That's just a given. Number two, she's always going to confidently be herself, to center herself, to see herself of value and expect to be treated well. And yes, that might include that she will twerk. Megan being herself, Megan giving no fucks, and Megan not having a man in her video, even though she is singing all about a man, another thing that might set people on edge. But why does she need a man in the video? She is the main character, remember, receiving what she desires, sat in her feminine energy with no real fucks to give. Where does a man fit into all of this? It's all about Megan and her happiness. If we had more Megans in the black community, the black manosphere would lose a lot of its power over black women's minds. That said, it needs to be remembered it's about Megan's archetype, not her personality. Her archetype, as mentioned, could be one of a very shy or reserved woman, but they are the same archetype because they have the same mindset. It's for this reason Megan, the beautiful stallion, belongs here in the Encyclopedia of Black Women, right under the woman with no fucks to give. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've made it this far, if you are on YouTube and if you do enjoy this kind of content, then please, why not subscribe? Drop me your comments, let me know what you think. And if you are on Substack, then thank you so much for being here. Much love. I will catch you in the next one, The Black Woman Essayist.